Hi, third graders. We're going to start our second unit of math today by learning about the factor of 6. So learning how to multiply and divide with the number 6. So you've learned right away that multiplication is repeated addition. So we're going to go back and do what we've done in the past. I'm going to ring a group of 6 boxes on my number path. Okay, and I'm going to go up here to the top, and I'm going to write that I have just circled one. Remember, that means group of. We've done that. One group of, crossing our arms, one group of 6, right? And that equals 6. I'm going to put a circle around this because that's what I put a circle around, was a group of 6. Okay, so I'm circling groups of 6. My next group of 6, which will be my second, right? 2 groups of 6, because I'm counting by 6, that's just the double. 6 plus 6 more, right, is 12. If I keep going and I circle my third group of 6, 3 groups of 6, right, all I'm doing is adding another group. So 12 plus 6 more brings me to 18. Okay, remember, I circled this because that's the number that I'm multiplying by. That's my fact. Okay, I want you to be paying attention. You know how to multiply, so you really know how to divide. I'm going to take this multiplication problem, and I'm going to start with my total, because remember, dividing, we start with a big number. So I'm going to start with my 6. That's my total. And I'm going to divide, right, by my group of 6. Okay, I can count by 6 up to my total. Okay, if I count by 6, how many times am I going to do that before I get to 6? I only have to do that one time. How about this one? Starting with my total, 12 divided by 6. So that's what I'm counting by. Count by 6 is 2 times, right? 6 and another group of 6 will get me to 12. I did it 2 times. So my quotient, my answer to my division problem, is going to be 2. Let's try the next one. Starting with my total, right? Here is my total in this column right there. 18. I'm going to divide by my factor of 6. Oh, it leaves me with the other factor. I also know if I count by 6s, okay, if I do it once, there's 6, 12, 18. I've done it 3 times, which is why my quotient is 3. Now, we could flip these two factors, right? I could also say that 6 divided by 1 is going to equal this, right? Because it's my other factor. Still starting with the big number. My total is 12, but instead of dividing by 6, I'm going to divide by this factor, which is going to leave me with the other factor. So really, I can do it either way. 18 divided by 3 would be 6. I always like to think of this as cookies on a plate, right? If I have 6 cookies and I'm going to put them on one plate, well, they're all going to be on the same plate, right? If I have 12 cookies and I'm putting them on 2 plates, each plate's going to have 6 on them. If I have 18 cookies on 3 plates, each plate's going to have 6 on them. That's why we do the drawing part of the deal, so that you can think about what it actually looks like and what you're actually doing. So multiplying and dividing by 6, remember these are fact families, they're all related. We could keep adding, circling another group of 6. My fourth group of 6 is just going to be adding 6 more to this number, right? Because it would be 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. I'm doing that 4 times. 4 groups of 6 would be 24. Okay, so I can take that total and divide by my factor of 6 to get my other factor. Remember, you can count by the little number up to the total. And when you do that, you put one finger up. Here's 6, 12, 18, and 24. So you're going to practice the 6 fact today. There's a couple of songs that I want you to watch on this video or on Google Classroom. I want you to be thinking, which one of these do I really like? Which one can I sing and memorize? Because that's what learning our facts is. It's just memorizing, okay? So let's take a look in our math book. We need to get back into the practice of our math book. We took a little detour last week doing a lot of Halloween math. So we're going to start on page 108. 108, right? On the opposite page is that number board that we just did. So if you need to pause the video, go ahead and do that. Grab your math journal, page 108, 108. You know that we've talked in the past, anytime you see that blue box, that shows you some kind of a lesson. That's a teaching area on the page. There's a lot on that page, so I'm going to explain it in my words, okay, while you're paying attention. I'm going to also put my board over here because I'm probably going to use that in just a second. They're saying that you know a lot more than you think you know, okay? We're learning to multiply by 6. You haven't practiced that yet, but you've practiced so many other facts that you really do know a lot of 6 multiples, okay? Here's one way that you can remember how to do it. So let's say you're going to try to figure out 6 times 6, okay? So I'm going to write that over here. 6 times 6. That would be 6 groups of 6. Okay, well, if I think about it, I can split my 6 up into a 5 plus a 1, right? If I know 5 times 6, and I know 1 times 6, then I can just add those together. 5 times 6, you know your 5s, is 30. 1 group of 6 is 6. I can just add those together to get 36. That is my product for 6 times 6. I just used that distributive property and I pulled this big number apart and made it into 2 pieces that I know, right? 2 more manageable pieces. So you can always use your 5s because you know your 5s really, really well. So start with that. That's another reason why I always make a group of 5, and then below that, I start to add on my other groups because I know my 5s really, really well. Okay, so that's one strategy you can use to practice your 6s. The next one talks about the 3s, right? If you think about 3, the double of 3 is 6. So if you know your 3s, you can just double that answer to get your 6s. So for example, 6 times 6, right, is really twice, or the double of 6 times 3. You know 6 times 3, that's 18. So all you need to do is double that because you're really adding a whole nother group of 6 times 3. So 18 plus 18 more gets you to 36. This next one is doing what we kind of did in number 1. But in number 1, we just made sure that we were practicing our 5s because we know those really well. This one is saying the same thing, but it's breaking that first factor down into something that maybe you know a little bit better. Maybe you know your 4s really well, and your 2s. 4 plus 2 makes a 6, right? Maybe you know a 3 plus a 3, like we just did with your doubles. You can add those together, all right? Here are some drawings that you can look at to explain, right? This is showing those equal groups. This is using an array and how we would break those apart. So I want you to be thinking, let's look down here at number 1. Here is 7 times 6. So if I write 7 times 6 on my board, right, that's a really big number. I don't know my 7s and I don't know my 6s yet. So let's take that number 7 and let's break it down into things we know. How about a 5 and a 2? Right, because 5 plus 2 more is 7, right? So if I draw a line there, what is 5 times 6? Well, I know that's 30. I'm good at those. 2 times 6, I know because I know my doubles really well, is 12. So if I add those products together, it's 42. Now I know 7 groups of 6 is 42. It's the same thing as adding the number 6 7 different times, right? 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. That takes us a long time. That's why multiplication is a shortcut. I know 5 times 6 much quicker than if I had to add 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. I know it much quicker. Okay, so that's breaking that down. So 7 times 6, you're going to write down 42. Let's try the same thing for the next one. 8 times 6. Here's my 8 groups of 6. Right? I don't know how to count by 8s, and I know I'm learning to count by 6s. Maybe I like to break this apart into a 5 and a 3, because 5 and 3 make 8. Maybe I want to do 4 plus 4, because both of those, right, make up an 8. You're going to have to decide which you like to do. I always like to do the 5s. So that really means 5 groups of 6 plus 3 groups of 6. I'm going to cross this one off. And I'm going to add those products together. Well, I told you, you're getting good at your 5s. We know that's 30. 3 groups of 6 is 18. If I add those together, I'm going to get 48. That's going to be my 8 groups of 6. Now, here's a fun little rhyme. I learned this when I was in school. 6 and 8 went on a date. They came back as 48. Can you remember that? 6 and 8 went on a date. They came back as 48. So they got married and now they're 48. It kind of rhymes. It's kind of corny and hokey, but if you can remember it, it will help you remember, right, your 6s and your 8s at the same time, right? So for number 2, you're going to write down 48. Now I want you to try number 3 all by yourself. I know a strategy I might use. I don't know my 6s, but I do know how to use my 9s trick with my fingers. Maybe I know the 9s song. See if you can figure that one out using one of those 2 strategies. If I do 9 times 6 with my fingers, right, I'm going to put my 6th finger down. Remember, we start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my next finger is this thumb on my right hand. I'm going to tuck it down. That becomes the separation from my 10s and my 1s. I have 5 10s, 4 1s. If I write that down, 5 10s, 4 1s gets me to 54. Okay, so you are starting to use all the factors you've already learned so that you can learn your 6s and then your 8s and then your 7s. All right, watch those songs today. See which one you really like and try to memorize and sing that, because that's how we practice our facts. We just have to memorize them. All right, talk to you later.